What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League featuring two Grass Poison Magical Leaf users with Shadow Victreebel and Roserade. Now I'm sure you've already seen many videos featuring Victreebel after its community day, but I don't think I've seen a single video on Roserade with Magical Leaf since it gained access to it a few seasons ago. Unfortunately I somehow lost all the gameplay I was originally going to showcase with this team, so I've had to do some more battles, but what that does mean is that I'm a bit more familiar with this team and how to play it out against certain leads. Now I was running Dazzling Gleam on my Roserade initially because the TM system wasn't being very kind to me, but I thought maybe I could at least nuke some Altaria out of the sky, but during both days that I ran this team, not a single Altaria came into my Roserade save swap, but I was met with many Talonflames, so eventually I did swap that out to Sludge Bomb. Also, a few people have mentioned that they feel sad watching my intros these days because of course I still have the clip of my old avatar before the dreadful avatar update, and yeah, I think since I haven't decided on a new buddy yet, I definitely won't be updating that intro clip anytime soon. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do to make our avatars look good right now, but you can still look good with today's video sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM is a clothing brand, and the first thing you'll notice when browsing on their store is the beautiful and vibrant graphic tees. There are tons of different art styles, so there's bound to be something that fits your style. But it's not just the artwork that's of a high quality, I have to say these are genuinely the best feeling and fitting t-shirts that I've ever worn. If however, big showy graphic tees aren't to your taste, then do not worry as they have a huge colour selection of basic branded and non-branded tees. One great thing about Into the AM is that when ordering a pack of basic tees, you have full freedom to choose which colour tops you want. Say for example you want a 3-pack of just plain black tops, you can absolutely do that, but if you want one charcoal top, one purple top and one yellow top, that is also an option. Now of course I am wearing an Into the AM graphic tee right now, and I have been in a lot of my recent videos, but of course you don't get the best view of the tees and certainly how they fit from me sitting at my desk, so here are a few images and videos to show what they look like on me while standing up and moving around. It's honestly hard to believe that I'm not a professional model with these poses, the fence backdrop that's definitely not super moldy, or the consistent lighting in each photo. So if you are interested in purchasing any new t-shirts, definitely go ahead and follow the link in the description or in the pinned comment, and you can use the creator code TOAST to get 10% off your purchase. With that being said, let's finally get into the question of the day. Do you honestly think Niantic will ever revert the changes to the avatar models, or do you think we're stuck with these new, ugly and broken but slightly more customizable models? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle lead, Gyarados into Lantern, so Nightmare lead, gonna be save swapping into my Roserade, and we bait out a Pidgeot now. Unfortunately, Dazzling Gleam does cost a lot of energy. They're actually able to outpace me to the first charge move. I figured I'd probably live a Feather Dance, but I don't. That still gets the knockout, and we are looking to be in shambles right now. We're gonna come back in with the Gyarados. I will be able to outpace them to an Aqua Tail, but this is a non-Shadow Gyarados. This will not be enough damage to take out the Pidgeot, and at this point I just have to fully sacrifice the Gyarados. Hopefully a 2-shielded Shadow Victreebel can clutch out this game for me. We come in, we get the Magical Leaf farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They actually kind of come in with their Lantern, and this might just be a ploy to force me to throw my energy, but I'm not falling for it. I'm going to overfarm massively in this matchup, now firing off a Leaf Blade before they make it to the next surf. Leaf Blade will of course take out the Lantern, but unfortunately they have a Shadow Magnezone in the back. Honestly, not a lot we can do here. I am going to throw on good timing though, so let's see. We're going to go for Leaf Blade number 1, grabbing that first shield from the opponent. We make it to 2 more Leaf Blades here, so let's see. We can grab that final shield from the opponent. We do make it to the 3rd Leaf Blade. This is resisted damage, and it is still enough damage to take out that Shadow Magnezone there. Honestly, I did not expect that. The opponent definitely didn't expect that, otherwise they'd have just fired off 2 mirror shots and taken me out there, but they got overconfident, and I'm able to take that game. Heading into the next battle, unfortunately another bad lead there. We stay in just initially to make sure that it wasn't Powder Snow, but we save swap into Roserade with full send in the Dazzling Gleam, and that is actually going to allow me to shield once and then fully Magical Leaf farm down this Dunsparce just before they make it to the next charge move, and that is amazing. We flip switch advantage, but we are down a shield. The opponent also going to come back in with their Shadow Alola Ninetales, which certainly isn't ideal. Weather Ball is going to grab the shield back from the opponent, but we miss out on making it to Weather Ball number 2. So at this point, we can't really come in with the Shadow Victreebel as they would make it to back-to-back weather balls. So we're going to take the first move onto our Gyarados. Hopefully we can get the snipe, but we are barely not able to do so. Honestly, we just have to pray for a water type in the back. But in this meta, there are so many water types. It ends up being a Lantern, which we obviously will win, even down a shield, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see a Mantine in the lead. So battle of the water and flying type Pokemon. The thing about the regular Gyarados is that we can at least tank neutral moves like an Aerial Ace here without having to shield. Whereas of course if I'm running the Shadow Gyarados, you're going to see that by the time they make it to the next charge move, honestly they'd have pretty much taken me out at this point. So we're going to shield this up. We can now go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, and we also come out with an Aqua Tail loaded. So the opponent's going to come in with their own Magical Leaf Shadow Victreebel. We're going straight for the crunch, and then I will swap into my Roserade. Don't want to give them any extra farm than I need to. The opponent is going to make a nice catch there, catching the Weather Ball onto a Toxicroak, but it actually doesn't matter because we can now just overfarm, throw on the CMP type, Roserade wins CMP up against a Toxicroak, Weather Ball will get the KO from this range. The opponent is now going to have to full send a Sludge Bomb to get rid of me, as the Leaf Blade is double resisted. They throw the Leaf Blade, that allows me to get to another Weather Ball, and at this point this game is going to be wrapped up. Weather Ball grabs the final shield from the opponent. We come in with our own Shadow Magical Leaf Victreebel. I'm just going to play it safe, use my shield here. They actually go for Leaf Tornado, which is fine with me. We end up losing CMP, but it doesn't matter. We already know they've only got grass type charge moves, so I can very easily tank a Leaf Blade, go for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will be taking out the Shadow Victreebel, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game we see Gyarados into Whiscash. So this is a great lead matchup for me, but eventually I will want to swap out of this matchup just in case the opponent has something like a flying type in the back. So gonna no shield this first move. Of course we will resist everything they throw, assuming they're not running Blizzard. We now say swap into Roserade, and here is the Talonflame. This is the worst possible Pokemon for me to see with my Roserade because they will resist everything we can possibly throw unless I was running Sludge Bomb, but unfortunately I had issues with getting the right move using TM, so initially I did just settle for that Dazzling Gleam. We're now going to come back in with the Gyarados. I shield the first move here. We go for the extra Dragon Breath there just because I thought if we go and send that Aqua Tail straight away and the opponent goes for an extra Incinerate, that would be worst case scenario for me. Now here, I'm going to use my final shield, shielding up the fly, hopefully get a Dragon Breath farm down, but I'm barely not able to do so, and I think that's down to me not throwing at the best timing on one of the previous Aqua Tails there. So unfortunately, barely missed out on getting the full farm down. They're going to take me out with a fly. We come in with our Shadow Victreebel, and the opponent's going to come in with a Skeledirge. So if we were able to take out that Talonflame there, honestly, I think we would have been fine, but unfortunately, we weren't. So we go for a Leaf Blade just to see how much damage it does. Honestly, for resisted damage, that is quite a lot. We've already seen us take out a Magnezone, but unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Dunsparce in the lead this time around. So maybe Dunsparce making a comeback this season here. The opponent's going to go and chip us with either a Rock Slide or a Drill Run. I didn't see which one it was, but it doesn't really matter. We can go for a Weather Ball. The opponent no shields the first one. We can now go for Weather Ball number 2, and this should be grabbing a shield from the Trevenant. At this point, they can get the full Shadow Claw farm down. They also come out with a Shadow Ball already loaded, so I am fully prepared to tank a Shadow Ball on my Gyarados. Hopefully they do just bait, but the opponent full sends a Shadow Ball. Doesn't quite one-shot us there, but it gets us very close, very deep into the red health range. We are nearly banking an Aqua Tail there, but I swap out just to make sure we don't tank the rollout. We're now going to come in with the Shadow Victreebel, and each time I've swapped out there, I've swapped after 2 Dragon Breaths. So that means when the opponent throws on their Dunsparce, we get a full fast move in for free, and the opponent tried to make a catch there. It doesn't work out for them, and now we've put them into range where I can double resist it, Magical Leaf, farm down the Venusaur. I will come out with a ton of loaded energy, and remember, Gyarados is just 1 Dragon Breath away from the Aqua Tail, so even if we don't make it to back-to-back Leaf Blades, then Gyarados would be able to clutch out this game, but luckily for us, we make it to the second Leaf Blade, taking out the Dunsparce, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we can see Greninja in the lead. So this is an okay matchup for us. I think I'm going to tank the first move, and then eventually I will swap into my Roserade. So tanking that first move, they go for Night Slash. We swap here, and unfortunately the opponent swaps at the same time. Well, actually, just slightly before I swapped there. So honestly, if I had better reactions, I could have just stayed in with my Gyarados. Unfortunately, that was not to be, and unfortunately we come in with a Roserade, which isn't even going to be able to tank 2 Body Slams. So not looking too good for us. I don't see any point in shielding here, so I will just let the Body Slam take us out. Now, I'm very used to using Shadow Gyarados. This is the first time I'm using regular Gyarados in the Great League. I'm hoping, I'm praying Aquatel will get the KO, but they live with 1 HP. I should have just gone for the crunch there. I'm now going to use my shield, shielding up the Body Slam, and the opponent swaps into Lurantis, so I'm going to swap 1 turn before they make it to a Leaf Blade, and that allows me to get a full Magical Leaf in for free, which is certainly very nice. Now, Magical Leaf, Leaf Blade, they're both resisted, but honestly, we hit like an absolute truck. Leaf Blade is going to grab the first shield from the opponent. I can still live another Leaf Blade here, but maybe I should have considered shielding, because now they will be able to go for a full Fury Cutter farm down. So here we do make it to that Leaf Blade, hoping it would be a CMP tie, but the opponent going to hold onto the energy. Now they can fire off the Leaf Blade, and what we have to do here is slightly undercharge the Aqua Tail. I'm going to overfarm here as much as I can, go for the Aqua Tail. We still need to make it probably to a crunch, and even then I don't think that's going to be enough damage to take out Greninja anyway, so the opponent is able to make it to a Leaf Blade. Doesn't really matter. Leaf Blade takes out the Gyarados, and we do end up losing that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Skarmory in the lead. Now, Skarmory is a little bit awkward for us, running Gyarados in the lead just because it covers for most of the flying types you're going to see in the meta. Altaria, we've got that Dragon Breath damage. Aqua Tail for like Talonflames or Glygars. I mean, you might see a Gliscor as well. And then, of course, we do also resist the Steel Wing damage. This is still a losing matchup in the one-shield scenario, but it is very close. So at this point, I'm happy to let the Gyarados go down. You're going to see that actually a Sky Attack barely doesn't take us out. So I'm actually going to swap into my Roserade, come in and go for that Weather Ball straight away. It's very likely that the opponent has a Skarmory with 2 Mud Boys or just 2 Water-type Pokemon in the back. They end up using their shield. We put them into range where actually we can just come in and magically farm them down, especially since they go for a very unnecessary Brave Bird there, and get the magically farmed down, and let's see what the opponent has in the back. They're actually running Shadow Dragonair, which I was not expecting, but it doesn't matter. We're going straight for the Sludge Bomb. Shadow Dragonair gets nuked by the Sludge Bomb, and they've got a Shadow Quagsire in the back. Don't really see the point in them throwing here. We can just safely shield this up. I could go for a Leaf Blade, but one more Magical Leaf takes out the Quagsire, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Quagsire in the lead this time around. So again, decent lead matchup for me, but the opponent's actually going to Safe Swap into a Toxapex. So I'm going straight for the crunch here. Honestly, I should have gone for 1 extra Dragon Breath there, just because they did swap out, so they were 1 turn behind. Typically, if you go straight for crunch up against a 2-turn fast move user, then that would be good timing. But the opponent's going to go a full send the Sludge Wave. We're going to come in with the Shadow Victreebel. And this is just going to be a Brine, so I'm going to no-shield this. Brine is going to hit for resisted damage. We get the full Magical Leaf farm down, and unfortunately, poor reaction time there. I thought it was going to be the whatever lead they had, but unfortunately, it's an Altaria. So what we're going to do is just fire off both Leaf Blades. Not going to do much damage, as they are double resisted, and they've still got both their shields remaining, so this isn't looking too good for us. What we're going to do here is going to come in with the Gyarados. They come back in with the Quagsire, so I'm going to bank at least a crunch, then swap into my Roserade, and even if this is a Stone Edge, we should be able to live it, and I should be able to go for a full Magical Leaf farm down. And of course, they've got both their shields. We don't make it anywhere near a Dazzling Gleam, but they have to start shielding eventually, and they end up shielding the Weather Ball. So that is good news for me. At this point, I'm now going to go for that crunch straight away. Either they shield and we get a debuff, and that would be amazing, or they just no shield, and now we can just fully Dragon Breath, farm down the Altaria, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Skeledirge in the lead. So great lead matchup for me, but unfortunately we have a Core Breaker. Well, not really a Core Breaker, but a Pokemon that I can't swap out of this matchup because they've got a Mandibuzz. Now, we do, of course, have Dazzling Gleam for coverage, but we've seen a few times now, it takes so long to get to that Dazzling Gleam. So we're going to come in with the Roserade. They're still going to make it to 2 more Aerial Aces before I do make it to that Dazzling Gleam. So I'm going to shield the first one, otherwise they can just go for a full Snarl farm down. At least when I shield the first one, we force the opponent to throw the next one straight away pretty much. Now we're full sending the Dazzling Gleam. Of course, from this range, it would get the KO, but the opponent actually uses their shield there, so not ideal for me in the slightest. We're going to wait out the switch clock, and then I'm actually going to come in with my Shadow Victreebel. We know we can live 1 Aerial Ace. I'm hoping they are just 2 away from, well, at least 2 away from the next Aerial Ace, as I will outpace them to the Leaf Blade, throwing on the CMP tie. Leaf Blade is going to take out the Mandibuzz. We're, of course, going to swap into our Gyarados, and the opponent has Cresselia in the bag. So I think my only win condition here is them letting this go through, and then somehow getting a full Dragon Breath farm down, but they end up shielding the crunch. We don't get a debuff, and that's going to be game over. Grass Knot takes out the Gyarados. We come back in with the Victreebel, and it doesn't matter what they throw. We're at like 3 HP. Anything will be enough damage to take out my Victreebel, and we do end up losing that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Gyarados into another Shadow Alola Ninetales. So once again, gonna stay in just to make sure they are running Charm, and they are. They come in with a Licky Tongue. Now, of course, if I was running something like Leaf Storm, I honestly think I might be able to take them out after I overfarm just slightly in this matchup. But here we're going for the Dazzling Gleam. Either way, this is still the hardest hitting move that I am running. It doesn't quite take them out there. And I'm not really sure. Do I shield here? I'm actually going to double shield my Roserade. This isn't ideal because a loaded Charm, a loaded Ninetales is going to sweep my entire team, but we play it out anyways. Hopefully we do make it to the back-to-back Weather Balls. We're at the second one already. Can we live the Charm? Yes, we are able to do so, just barely, and that's going to be huge. That will allow me to grab both shields from the opponent, but even then, we're still in a very precarious position. We're going to come in with the Victreebel, swap, make the catch onto the Gyarados, and honestly, I need the opponent to swap out of this matchup, and the opponent falls for it. They come in with the Lantern, and that is literally the perfect scenario for me, because now, all we have to do is farm up two back-to-back charge moves up against the Lantern. The opponent isn't even going to go for a Thunderbolt, they just go for the Surf, so we go for back-to-back Leaf Blades here. Leaf Blade will be enough damage to very easily dispose of the Lantern, and honestly, we're just going to play it safe, go and full send the Sludge Bomb. Leaf Blade should have got the KO, but Sludge Bomb is a huge overkill, taking out the Alola Ninetales, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see a Dugong in the lead. So this is a bit of a tricky matchup here. According to the simulations, we do win this, so I guess that's baiting with an Aqua Tail, or maybe them letting the first crunch go through. But either way, we go for the crunch. They let it go through, and I think they must have lagged by one turn there because they didn't throw straight away. And now we're going to come in with our Roserade, and once again, unfortunately, they've got Talonflame in the back. This time, we're not even making it to a Dazzling Gleam, so I'm just going to concede the match. At this point, I still didn't switch over to Sludge Bomb. I was just thinking, I've only got like 20 TMs. It's going to take me like 10 TMs to get Sludge Bomb. But into the next battle, GG's to that opponent, by the way. Of course, very short battle, but I mean, it's just how it goes sometimes. We're going to see a Shadow Dragonair in the lead. Typically, Dragonair is paired with Skarmory and Lantern, or Skarmory and Whiscash in the back. So we're going to stay in with the Gyarados. Unfortunately, they do swap out of this matchup here. So they've got a very low health Shadow Dragonair in the back that we've got to be very wary of a catch, but the opponent overfarms massively, allowing me to make it to a Weather Ball, throwing on the CMP tie, so that's best case scenario for me. At this point, I'm definitely just going to let the Roserade go down. Sky Attack will of course take us out. But now I should be able to outpace this Skarmory, two back-to-back charge moves here, and I think I've put them into range where Leaf Blade will get the knockout. So we're going to fire off that Leaf Blade on the CMP tie. The opponent is going to shield that up, so this is looking more and more like it's going to be a Lantern or a Whiscash in the back, and we've just got to make sure we don't throw straight away. The opponent tries to make the catch there, we don't throw straight away, and now we can go for that Leaf Blade into the Skarmory coming back in. Leaf Blade gets the KO, and it is a Lantern in the back, so we're just going to farm to 4 Magical Leaves, throw on the CMP tie with a Surf, and Leaf Blade will be taking out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Gyarados into Sableye. So this is a little bit of an awkward lead matchup for me, just because we will pace the same to the charge moves, but I can't really afford to throw straight away. It turns out the opponent actually overfarms by 1 fast move anyway, so I should have just thrown the Aqua Tail before the opponent made it to that first charge move, because then the ball is in their hands, or the ball is in their hands? What does that mean? The game is in their hands, or I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We go for a second Aqua Tail, throwing on the CMP tie, and at this point, I'm just going to let Gyarados go down. I'm then going to come in with my Roserade, because I feel like the coverage might be better on my Roserade than on my Shadow Victreebel, just in case they do have something like an Altaria in the back. We can then just full send that Dazzling Gleam. We get the farm down there. We've of course got no shields remaining, and unfortunately, that's probably the worst thing we could see, just because they resist everything we could throw, whilst of course the Magical Leaf damage is still going to hit for neutral damage. But either way, the opponent swaps as they see a Shadow Victreebel coming in. They swap into their Whiscash there, and we just throw straight away. We don't want to take any Mud Bomb damage, because what that would do is allow the opponent to fully fast move farm me down with the Toxapex. We don't want that. They have to full send a Sludge Wave. We've got tons of energy loaded, so we're full sending the Dazzling Gleam. This is resisted damage, but it nearly takes them out. One more Magical Leaf does the job, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we're going to see a Shadow Gligar in the lead. So This is a little bit iffy here. If the opponent does throw and they want a shield here, then of course we're not going to be in the greatest position because they can pretty much wing attack farm me down at this point. But we go for the Aqua Tail and the opponent actually just lets that go through. It doesn't quite take them out there, and then they come in with a Skarmory. So this isn't ideal. I'm only making it to one move, so I'm actually going to go for a Crunch here just in case I get a debuff. Also, Crunch does do ever so slightly more damage than an Aqua Tail, even after the Aqua Tail buff. But here I'm going to shield this up. They go for a Sky Attack, and now I'm going to overfarm. The opponent makes a brilliant catch though, catching the resisted Weather Ball onto a Poliwrath, and this of course is normally a very good matchup for us, but because they catch the resisted Weather Ball, they're now in a really good position. We go for the Sludge Bomb there. We are now running Sludge Bomb, as you can see. I'm going to let this move go through here. I'm hoping that Shadow Victreebel, despite only dealing double resisted damage, can take out the Skarmory from that range, but it's going to be very close. I also have to be honest, I have lost track of their energy. I don't have a clue how much energy they've got, so what I'm going to do is wait for the opponent to at least farm 2 back-to-back charge moves, or at least wait till they throw here, and then I'm going to swap into my Gyarados. It doesn't matter if we make the catch or not. I'm hoping the Dragon Breath damage will put them into Leaf Blade range here, so we're full sending it. Leaf Blade isn't quite enough damage to take out the Skarmory, and unfortunately the Sky Attack or Brave Bird is easily going to take out the Victreebel, and we do end up losing that game. Honestly, if my counts were off there and the opponent actually wasn't at the Sky Attack when I swapped out there, I could have gone for one extra Magical Leaf, made it to a Sludge Bomb, and maybe that would have been the difference. But anyways, into next battle, we see Whiscash, and the opponent safe swaps into Skeleturge, which is a very odd decision here. But I'm thinking this is probably going to be the same team that we saw earlier with Talonflame as that third Pokemon. So what we're going to do is definitely fight for switch advantage. We're now going to go for a second Aqua Tail, grabbing both shields from the opponent, and hopefully they just full send a Shadow Ball, because if they do, which they do, we can now go for a full Dragon Breath farm down. Turns out they wouldn't have got off another Disarming Voice anyways, but now we're going to swap into our Roserade, and we're running Dazzling Gleam again because these battles aren't quite in order. But either way, we're going for the Weather Ball. Weather Ball really not going to do much damage at all. We wouldn't have made it to a Dazzling Gleam, but hopefully this is Aqua Tail range here. So of course, we've got the move loaded already. We're going to fire it off straight away. Please take out the Talonflame. Aqua Tail barely doesn't get the KO, but that honestly might even be better because they're not at back-to-back moves. So what we can do is get the resisted Magical Leaf farm down, and the opponent is just going to concede the match there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see Gyarados into Mantine. So once again, battle of the water and flying type Pokemon. I'm always going to no-shield the first charge move that the opponent throws. So going to let this first one go through here. You're going to see Aerial Ace doesn't do too much damage, but over time, of course, these wing attacks will add up. But also, the Dragon Breath damage is really chunking already. We go for the Crunch, we get the defense drop, and I'm definitely just going to shield this up. I then can go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, but the opponent swaps into Shadow Quagsire. Then they also make a huge mistake here, just going straight for an Aqua Tail. That makes literally no sense because I can no shield, and now I can go for a full Magical Leaf farm down, and let's see what that final Pokemon is. Or if they're going to come in with their Mantine once again, but no, it ends up being a Hakamo'o. We're just going to go for the back-to-back Leaf Blades there, predicting they're probably going to shield, and this Leaf Blade is resisted damage, but it does some decent damage there. At this point, I can't really come in with my Gyarados because I risk getting farmed down and then just having a ton of energy to throw into my Roserade. So I'm going to no-shield the first move here. They go for Dragon Claw. I could try and throw a Sludge Bomb on the CMP tie, but it's very likely they would catch. So instead, I actually go for the resisted Weather Ball. It lands, and now I can just swap into my Gyarados, and I should be able to Dragon Breath farm them down. They go for the Dragon Claw there, which is very nice for me. If they went for Break, honestly, Mantine might have got the Wing Attack farm down, but because they didn't, I'm able to Dragon Breath farm down both the Mantine and the Hakamo'o, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Dugong in the lead. So we are once again just going to go straight for the Crunch. Of course, expecting the opponent to throw an Icy Wind as soon as they get there. So Crunch is actually going to be shielded this time. We get the defense drop. So at this point, I'm going to swap out into my Roserade here. Hopefully get a 0-turn swap, and we do get the 0-turn swap. And I'm also hoping that this Weather Ball will be enough damage to get the KO, as the opponent no shields, and it does take them out, which is huge for me. They're then going to come in with Annihilate. I'm just going to throw a Weather Ball straight away, as it's very likely that they're just running Night Slash. Before, Ice Punch used to be the recommended move. It probably still is the recommended move, but a lot of people like the coverage of Night Slash, and also just the fact that you can get a boost, and also it is slightly more spammy than Ice Punch. But either way, we're going to come in with the Shadow Victreebel. I'm just going to shield this up. We don't know what is in the back, but hopefully Victreebel and Gyarados between us can take out a Victreebel of their own. So going straight for the Sludge Bomb, no baits here, and Sludge Bomb is going to be no shielded by the opponent. They realise it's game over, so they just let us take them out there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, another Mantine in the lead. A lot of Mantine, what can I say? I don't get to choose which Pokemon I'm facing, but it is getting slightly repetitive here. I'm going to no-shield this first charge move, as the opponent this time full sends an Ice Beam, and also because of the ice just staying on my screen there, I end up throwing on poor timing just because of a little bit of stutter lag, but that's okay. We're going to once again shield this. Actually, no, we're not going to shield. We're going to let the move go through here, hoping this is their only counter to Grass-type Pokemon. We come in with the Roserade, and they come in with a Charger Bug. So honestly, I don't mind that I didn't shield the Gyarados. Gyarados can do not a lot up against a Charger Bug. They then let the Weather Ball go through there, and we're now going to full send a Sludge Bomb. Hopefully the opponent will just let this move go through here, and they do let it go through. Honestly, I couldn't tell if I should have just let my Roserade go down there or come in with my Victreebel, because unfortunately now I'm going to have to tank 2 Psycho Boosts. I wasn't sure if a double debuff Psycho Boost would do more damage than an X-Scissor from the Charger Bug, so I just shield the first one there. We're now going to go for a Leaf Blade. All shields are down on my end. We are of course resisting the Volt Switch damage, but this, X-Scissor is going to put us into perfect farm down range for the opponent, and unfortunately for us, Roserade doesn't quite have a charge move loaded. We're also not one away, so we swap out there, hoping to make it to a Weather Ball, but we're not able to do so. X-Scissor takes us out, and they can resist it. Volt Switch, farm down my Victreebel, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see another Skarmory in the lead. So once again, just going to play out the one shield scenario, because what that will do is put them into range where either of my Grass-type Pokemon can actually still take out the Skarmory, which is fine with me. We've seen already we can live a Sky Attack reasonably comfortably, at least when they first throw it, but the opponent's actually going to swap into a Shadow Feraligatr. So I'm just going to chip with an Aqua Tail. I don't want to swap out here just because they will outpace me to an Ice Beam, because I'm pretty slow to react there. So what we're going to do is just fully sacrifice the Gyarados. Well, actually, it doesn't quite take us out there, so unfortunately they do get slightly more energy, and that will allow them to make it to an Ice Beam, but I'm just going to play it safe, use my shield here, and I'm expecting it's going to be double water in the back, so the opponent comes back in with their Skarmory, and this is perfect for me. This is the reason I came in with the Roserade. Weather Ball number 1 grabs the shield, and Weather Ball number 2 should be enough damage to take out the Skarmory, and they've got a Lantern in the back, so we can come in with the Shadow Victreebel. The opponent isn't quitting, but they are just going to allow me to make it to a Leaf Blade, taking out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Gyarados into defense form Deoxys. So of course, could be running Rock Slide, could be running Thunderbolt, but they're actually just going to fire off a Psycho Boost straight away. Now of course, my entire team isn't going to do too well up against a defense form Deoxys. I can tank the Psycho Boost there, but I'm thinking maybe they just want to chip me, and then they've got something like a Dugong and a Bastiodon in the back, in which case it certainly wouldn't be ideal that I didn't use a shield there. But we're now going to come in with my Shadow Victreebel. I'm going to farm to the back Leaf Blades there. That way, if the opponent does shield here, I still will be able to make it to a second Leaf Blade to get that KO. But we're going to see the opponent's actually running a Guzzlord in the back, so we are debuff Sludge Bomb, not going to do as much damage as it normally would, but the opponent does let it go through, and I needed that to go through, because of course, we can't really damage this Guzzlord with our charge moves on our Gyarados, and in actual fact, we won't even make it to a charge move, so I am going to swap into my Roserade here, just hope that they go for a Dragon Claw, which they do, but they are able to make it to another charge move. This is going to grab my final shield here. Certainly not ideal, because now all they have to do is make it to a Psycho Boost, and that will be enough damage to take out our Roserade. But remember, Gyarados does still have a slither of HP remaining. They're also going to debuff their attack by 2 stages here, so can we make it to the crunch? Unfortunately, no is the answer, and we unfortunately do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see a Shadow Feraligatr in the lead. The opponent's going to say swap into Greedent. The reason I didn't swap out straight away, just because I feel like the opponent is probably more likely to swap out of that matchup immediately, and I don't want to accidentally swap into something that gets completely hard countered with a blind swap there. So we're going to see the Greedent we're actually going to live 2 body slams here, but I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to use my shield anyways, and now I'm going to force the opponent, do they want to use a shield as well, or are they just going to let the Greedent go down? And they choose to use their shield back. And at this point, I should live this move. Even if they go for a Crunch, I should live it. But they go for a Trailblaze, which we also live, by the way, so that's fine with us. And they're going to come back in with the Feraligatr. I'm going to bank an Aqua Tail, swap into my Roserade, and they've got a Fury Cutter Lurantis in the back. So things are looking amazing for me. We go for the Weather Ball there. That does a lot of damage, considering it is only a 35 energy non-stab charge move. The opponent can only throw resisted charge moves. They actually go for Trailblaze there, but it doesn't matter. Boosting their attack makes no difference. I'm just going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to be shielded, grabbing that final shield from the opponent. And all we really need to do here is get them into Aquatail range, because of course we did bank the Aquatail. If we get the farm down, that's also fine with us, but the opponent does make it to one final charge move. It's just a crunch in the end, so the magical leaf damage takes out the Feraligatr, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.